Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. I am so excited to have you here. Today's episode is all about living authentically. I touched on this on one of my previous episodes. It was sort of at the very end of the podcast. We didn't go into what that meant. But over the last few weeks, especially the last few days, I've been thinking about how many people are not living authentically. And from experience, I know that when you're not living authentically, you don't feel good. There's always some kind of push and pull. There's sort of like this struggle, this inner turmoil where you just can't place it, but something always feels off. And when we think about living authentically, it's important whether you're doing this purposefully in your everyday life or in your business. And because my podcast is geared toward a lot of people, but primarily entrepreneurs, I do want to touch on how this looks in business, but I want to expand on that and talk about what are the telltale signs, because I know that when I first started really doing some personal development in my life, I didn't realize how inauthentically I had been living. And that was because I was in the fast lane. I was go, go, go. I had a purpose. I wanted to get to that as fast as can be. It was just like that immediate gratification. So I wasn't listening to my heart. I wasn't listening to my intuition. I wasn't aligning the two. I was just moving at the speed of light. And when you get really clear about what your body is communicating to you, you start to see where things are not in alignment and where you may as well be living inauthentically. And I know for me, I've shared this on the podcast before, but since YouTube is new, I'll reshare this. I had built the business of my dreams. I built a brand and creative agency called Monica Freeman Studios. I was so proud of everything I had done. I loved all of my clients. Everything was going very wonderfully for me. Things were happening so suddenly. It was almost like I launched my business and had my first 2 clients within the first week, and I made a little more than $50,000 in my first month of ever launching. And if you can imagine what that's like, living inauthentically. So you're getting all these opportunities and everything's flowing in abundance. But then all of a sudden, I reached a point in my business where my nervous system was so dysregulated. And at the time, I didn't even know that it was dysregulated. I knew that I didn't feel in harmony, but I didn't realize I was the contributing factor to that harmony. And that was simply because I was not putting boundaries on things that I should have been. Boundaries like the clients that I was taking, the ways I was spending my days. It looked like not getting enough sleep, not enjoying my personal life, so being all work and no play. It really was so many different factors. And when you're thinking about this place in your life where you can be experiencing these signs, think about what feels like a struggle to you, what feels like it's taking your energy and not returning your energy. So when I realized that some of the services that I offered really were consuming a lot of energy and they were not bringing me joy, and the only reason I was doing them is because they were making me a lot of money, I realized that was inauthentic for my business, because that is not even sustainable. But if it's not going to bring me joy and it's not going to light my sacral up, I'm a human design manifesting generator. So if you guys know human design at all, then you know what that is. But it doesn't light me up, right? So these services were keeping me resentful almost. It was like I was so happy to land a new client and have the contract signed and have the invoice paid. But the second I had to start the job, it was like this terrible feeling internally that was just like, ugh, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. But here we go, another client, another contract, another invoice paid. And the more I did this and the more that I resented it, the more my nervous system felt completely dysregulated. I was stressed all the time. I was anxious. I spoke 90 miles a minute, and I still do, but usually it's from energetics. It's from that high vibe energy. It's that excitement, like I can't contain myself. This was from that fear, that anxious energy. You know that energy because you feel it inside. It's not comfortable. It wants to come out, it wants to disappear, but you don't know how to contain it. And that's sort of what living inauthentically feels like. It's when you are saying yes to things that don't feel good to you. And this can be anywhere in your life. This is not just in business, like I said. This can be in any facet of your life. This can be if you have children, allowing your child to do something that you don't want to let them do because it doesn't feel good to you. Or this can be something at work. You're taking on more than you can do because you want to show up in a certain way in that position, but it's actually hurting you and it's making you feel that low vibe energy. This can show up in relationships when you're not in alignment. Maybe your core values don't align, and maybe you actually don't feel like this is a compatibility, or even in any kind of friendships. It's really just, there's so many ways that it shows up in our lives and on our day-to-days and in the choices that we make. And when you start to learn your habits and your patterns, and you start to connect the dots, there's things I always said yes to. Things like going out with my friends and overcommitting myself, not getting enough rest, doing things that my body was saying no, 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 but whether it was the fear of missing out or the experience or me trying to tell myself I need to do this thing. And that's really what it comes down to, that feeling of you need to do something. But what is the need, right? Like, where is that feeling of needing or shoulding? Where is that coming from? And that's where you have to get very clear when you are doing this work to live authentically. Because if you feel like you need to show up, if you need to do something, then you are misaligned. There is something that's happening internally where you are putting a lot of pressure on yourself. You have expectations of yourself. There are underlying limiting beliefs that you probably need to clear some fears around in order to live authentically. It takes time. Living authentically seems easy. It sounds easy enough to be your true, genuine self, but you know how many people are going to a job that they hate every day, that commit themselves on the weekends to projects and people that they don't really want to spend time with, that are making choices every single day that are not in alignment with their soul, with like the root of their heart and their intuition. And I was one of those people. And you listening to this might be one of those people as well. And that's why I wanted to come on today and share this episode, because in business, this inauthentic place cannot build sustainability. It cannot build success. You cannot live an inauthentic life in business or in your personal life and feel good every day. Your energy is going to be leaking in one area or another because you're going to be giving too much in one area and not enough to another. And it is not selfish to prioritize yourself, to look internally and say, wait, this doesn't feel good anymore. I don't want to do this. I actually shifted my entire business model this year, and that's because I didn't feel good about what I was doing any longer. It felt mismatched with my soul, with my purpose, with my authentic self. How can I be spending all of my time doing this one thing every day and then not bringing that into my business when it's how I live? It's the embodiment of my lifestyle. So it felt like I would be doing my clients and my audience a disservice if I didn't show up and share these things. So a lot of it has shifted into personal development and how that ties into entrepreneurship, because really, when you get to the core of personal development, living authentically, finding your soul's purpose, like really the energetics, you start to understand that that is your foundation for building sustainability in life. And that is how you're going to build success. Your career does not always have to be your purpose. You can have your life's purpose be something completely not related to your career, but you have to be living authentically in alignment with your soul's purpose so that it feels fulfilled, so that it feels like you are moving the needle in that chapter of your life, because we are all here to do something. We all came here to serve in some way, and whether you believe that or not, that is your soul's way of communicating to you when it feels misaligned, when it feels like you're not living authentically. Because every single time you make a choice, you're making a choice for the future version of yourself. And you're making a choice as this version of yourself. And if you want to be the highest version of yourself, that person that we all aspire to be, the person who is living their purpose, who has their dream life, then you have to be making aligned choices. So things that are authentically in alignment with you. And that is really so hard to do when you're not self-aware enough to recognize you are the common denominator in the things that are holding you back. But when you get really quiet for a minute and you think about how you're living day to day. For instance, it's a Sunday, and I typically go to church on Sundays. I absolutely love my church. It's a very early service. I get there at 7:45 and I'm out by 9 a.m. And it's a very spiritual service. It makes me feel enlightened and it makes me feel great. And I just love the people that go. Well, today I woke up and I hit snooze. And when I first hit snooze, I thought, I want to listen to my body first because my body is telling me it needs sleep. I don't hit snooze a lot, so when I do, I know that I'm tired. So I'm on this new chapter of my life where I'm listening to my body and doing what feels good to me first and foremost. And I don't think it's selfish. I think it's living in alignment and living authentically. So I hit snooze. I ended up missing the service. I had enough time to go to the service by the time I woke up, but something told me to stay home. And I'm not sure why I wanted to stay home, but I knew that today I didn't feel like going to the service. And at first I started to punish myself, like, why are you not going? This is something you should be doing. You go on Sundays, whatever. You get my point. And then I had to really deep dive into this, like, why do I think I should do this? When I embody the characteristics of somebody who goes to church every Sunday in my daily habits every single day. I meditate, I pray, I'm very spiritual, I lead by example, I live a godly life. So whatever divine and high power that you believe in is totally fine. This is not about church or God or religion. The point I'm making is I felt like I was doing something wrong by not going. And then I realized the reason why I felt like I was doing something wrong by not going is because I had told my best friend that I was going to go to that service and that I would be there. And then at the last minute, I changed plans. And that felt wrong to me because I'm not a person who cancels. But my friend was completely supportive and understanding because my friend knew that I also have been sort of burning the candle at both ends lately, trying to build this second business that I have launched about a month and a half ago called Unewal. And that has been consuming a lot of time and energy. It's fully aligned. It feels really good. So the energy is placed, but it was okay to not feel like I needed to be somewhere today, to not put pressure on myself because I was living an authentic life by making that choice that felt right to me in that moment. And that is what this whole episode is about. It's about choosing things that feel right to you in that moment. And I don't mean impulsively making decisions and flying by the seat of your pants like I was doing. I mean things that feel aligned. Like if you want that piece of cake, but you've been really healthy for the last month, but right now you want to treat yourself, give yourself that piece of cake. Live in alignment. Your body obviously is saying it wants it. And it's not that you're going to have cake every single day. Don't punish yourself. Eat it out of joy. And if you want to take that trip, but you're overthinking and overanalyzing all the things, the money, the location, the trip, how it's going to work out and all these things, listen to what's happening internally. Those pings, those internal feelings are usually the guide that takes us to the path we're meant to be on. And there's not always a rational reason for these things. Sometimes they're completely illogical and we don't know why, but it feels right. It makes sense to us. And that is your intuitive ping to go with that thing, to fill that out and see where that fits into this new chapter of living authentically. I know it has taken me a long time to really start layering these choices and unpacking why I wasn't doing this before. And when you get to the core of it, I think a lot of it is people pleasing. A lot of it's trying to be there for everybody. A lot of it's trying to put expectations on who we think we're supposed to be. A lot of it is just hyper judgment of others and of ourselves. And when you get to the root of all of those things, it's simply not living authentically. And bringing this back around to entrepreneurship and business, it's really important that when you launch a business, that you are launching from a place of purpose, that you know why you want to launch this business and what it represents, what your mission is, what your vision is. That is your driving force. That is the thing that's going to light you up every single day to show up and serve. And it's important that all of the things that you're showing up with are in full body alignment. From your content marketing strategy to the products and services that you offer to the clients that you take. Every single thing, especially even your branding, your messaging, everything has to feel authentic. I actually went through my entire website yesterday and rewrote everything on my page because I was thinking, does this feel in full body alignment with me? The woman I am today, the mission that I have has not changed. But does this communicate clearly to my audience what my mission is? And it didn't. It did not feel aligned. It didn't feel authentic. So I had to rewrite some of the copy on my website. And now it feels really good. And you may have to do the same thing. You might have to do an internal audit of who you are outside of business and who you are inside of your business and see if everything is flowing exactly in harmony where it's meant to be, without judgment, without fear, without expectations. This doesn't have to be that complicated. We overcomplicate everything when we think too much. And trust me, I have been that analysis paralysis kind of girl for a very long time. Just overthink. And now I don't. Now I immediately make a decision from my gut. It's just like, yes, that's what feels right, or no, that's not. And I don't always, like I said, know why it does or doesn't feel right, but I go with it. And it always leads me to where I'm supposed to be. So what I want you to take away from this lesson with this episode today is living in alignment is how you're going to build clarity. It's how you're going to build purpose. It's how you're going to build connection. It's how you're going to build your highest self and embody that person every day. And that place that you reach, that authentic place that feels so good, not only is it going to help you grow and experience more personal development, but that place is where you are going to find true success. That is where everything is going to become abundant and you're going to start attracting things to you. That is the place where your manifestations are activated. So if you are ready to get to that place, really do this internal audit and figure out what is not in alignment, what is operating from inauthentic, maybe emotions, feelings, actions, just anything that's driving you that doesn't feel aligned. I really hope that this landed with you and that you feel compelled to do this internal audit. I am so proud of you as always, and I thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I will see you on the next one.